Welcome to Becoming Big Mama, the podcast where wisdom isn't just old school, it's the cheat code for right now. I'm your host, Cassaundra, and you've just stepped into my quantum kitchen. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Think less sterile lab, more Sunday dinners with your favorite people, food on the stove, conversation flowing, and somebody always asking a good question. All right, y'all, listen. This ain't a normal tech news episode. This is like tech news with the aunties kicking it. And I'm not saying y'all need therapy, but I am saying that 2025 had a lot of people staring at the ceiling like, Lord, is it me or is the world glitching out? Because 2025 tech didn't just happen. Tech tried us, like really tried us. Tried us in a way a toddler tries you in Target. They ain't got no money. They still testing boundaries, just screaming all in aisle 9. And you standing there like, do I need to break my foot off in your ass or do I just need prayer? That was that year. And before somebody in Silicon Valley jumps in my comments like, actually, innovation is necessary, baby, let me stop you right there. I love innovation. I'm a product manager by trade. I make things every day with my team. I believe humans are supposed to create. But what I don't love is when created technologies turn into custody battles, surveillance states, and somebody's water bill doubling just so a chatbot can freestyle a poem. Because y'all know that some of y'all out there ain't being that creative. So let's do a top 10. Not by the months, but by the moments. You remember where you were when you heard that moments. Number 10, starting in January, TikTok wasn't an app anymore. It was a child in a custody fight. Y'all remember January. That was when the U.S. Supreme Court upheld that law that said TikTok either gets sold or it can't operate in the U.S. At first, the conversation was about China having access to our data, what they could see, what they could sell, what they could do with our information. But then the conversation shifted because it wasn't just about where the data lived. It was about who controls the algorithm. And the algorithm is how our communities are shaped online, how our perceptions are shaped, how information spreads, how influence works at scale. That's when it clicked for me. TikTok in the US was just the kid. We can call him Lil Baby TT. And Lil Baby TT's parents were China and the US. And TT sitting there like, y'all keep saying y'all doing this for me, but all I see is you thinking about yourself. And when all of this is over, when y'all finally work it out, I'm going to be the one who got to live with the consequences. I'm the one who got to grow up inside the mess. I'm the one holding the therapy bill, bearing the brunt of y'all selfish bullshit, trying to make sense of a 2-parent fight that was never really about me. Now, Lil Baby TT is tainted. Let's just be honest. And some of y'all are up at night doom scrolling. Look, no judgment. We've all done it at one point. But all I got to say is TT algorithm ain't the same no more. And it's going to continue to change. So watch the company you keep because ain't nobody too grown to be influenced. Okay? Number 9. In February, Microsoft said quantum out loud and the future got real fast. At the end of February, Microsoft announces Majorana 1, topological qubits, Majorana 0 modes, words that sound expensive. And tech Twitter acted like, yeah, that checks out. Meanwhile, regular people like me were like, I still don't know where all my iPhone storage went. But this wasn't nerd news. This was the moment that people realized the next era of computing is being built ahead of public conversation. Quantum isn't better apps. Quantum is new power. It changes what can be cracked, what can be simulated, what can be controlled. And when tech outruns understanding, power picks the direction it runs in. But we all know what happens when you build something and leave people that it affects out of the convo. Exactly. When you build it crooked, you gonna live crooked. Number 8. In June through December, AI stopped being the cloud and started showing up on the water bill. In June, Sam Altman dropped that post that said, one ChatGPT prompt uses about 1/15 of a teaspoon of water. But by the end of 2025, the conversation matured because the real issue wasn't the prompt. It was the millions of users, billions of prompts, massive compute running 24/7. By late 2025, reporting showed data centers consuming tens to hundreds of millions of gallons of water per year. And in some regions, that demand affected electricity, pricing, and infrastructure strain on people like you and me. That's when people started asking, why is the future being built in my backyard? And nobody called and told me nothing. Nobody asked me. Nobody included me. And now I'm just supposed to pay for it? Child, look, ain't no free rides. Best you can do is choose whether the bill comes on the front end or on the back end, because somebody's going to pay. Number 7, 2025 data centers, farmers, and why food prices felt a little too personal. People weren't just noticing higher grocery prices. They were noticing how unevenly those costs landed. In farming communities near new data centers, water allocation changed. Electricity demand changed. Land use changed. And when utilities get stressed out like that, costs don't get spread evenly. They get passed down. People started connecting the dots. New AI data centers, my utilities going up, those farmers raising prices, our food supply looking weird, and now eggs are the same price of an iPhone. Then they learned about personalized pricing, prices adjusting by our own profiles, our behavior, our location. It's kind of like the airline websites when you take too long to purchase, but now it's everything, everywhere, all the time, all at once. And it stopped feeling random and it felt targeted. Everyone ain't paying the same. But no one is half the game, so you're welcome. Number 6, April led to deepfakes and why "you gotta see it to believe it" died as a phrase. In April, CNN ran that story out of South Korea, where deepfake sex rings featured real women, real teen girls, real lives, and reputations destroyed. And what shook people was how little was required. A LinkedIn headshot, an Instagram photo, a graduation picture, or a picture of your newborn baby. All they needed was a face. All they needed was your likeness to blackmail you in these pornography rings. By the end of 2025, it was clear this wasn't just overseas. But people weren't panicking. Some were quietly changing their behavior, scrubbing old accounts, locking down privacy, watermarking photos, posting less publicly. This new wisdom wasn't fear, it was discernment. And in all of that, we had to learn a new skill that didn't rely solely on our eyes as proof, because everything you see ain't meant for you to believe. And for folks caught up as a victim in it, just remember, sometimes things only get power if you panic. Number 5, smart cities and surveillance by design really picked up. Smart cities kept getting sold as innovation, sensors, traffic optimization, public safety tech, but people started noticing the trade-off. Smart cities run on data sharing, local records, transit data, utilities. In 2025, under pressure from federal funding, many states and cities were asked to turn over more data than ever. Piece by piece, a smart city became a scrutinized city. People started saying, this doesn't feel like the future. This feels like control. And guess what, baby? You're right. Because in a city where movement is logged, pricing is personalized, access can be restricted, behavior is scored, that's not a Jetson future. That's a digital leash. And in 2025, people weren't paranoid. They were connecting architecture to power, realizing that protection that ain't humane ain't worth any price. Number 4. In late 2025, robots were clocking in at BMW and at international borders. By late 2025, humanoid robots weren't demos anymore. They were working at BMW plants and at borders, in environments humans can't safely operate in. And let me be clear, robots doing dangerous work can be a blessing. Disaster zones, extreme heat, infrastructure repair, that type of thing. That's not the problem. The problem is, what happens next? Because once a robot can do it, the expectation shifts. Now humans are asked, why can't you move that fast? Why can't you work that long? Why can't you operate under those conditions? Robots don't just change labor. They change what's considered reasonable. And that's how inequity widens quietly. Once robots are in everyday life, they'll be writing checks our asses can't cash. Number 3. Somewhere between the spring and the fall, ICE, Palantir, and Doge just kind of started doing their own thing. And I started to think, who has my fucking data? In April, ICE pays Palantir tens of millions to build Immigration OS, real-time tracking, target prioritization, self-deportation. By late summer, people were asking, how fast can reinforcement move now? At the same time, DOGE, this brand new federal efficiency project, had access to massive government data systems, student loans, employment records, social security information. And the part that haunted people wasn't just access. It was uncertainty. Where is my data now? Like, who copied it? Who controls it? Who's accountable? This is when tech stopped feeling abstract and started feeling more like power without consent. But remember, they may know who you were. That don't mean that they gonna know who you gonna be, because we create the data. Keep that in mind. Number 2, by the fall, OpenAI started talking about mature content and where the money actually goes. By fall, OpenAI starts loosening rules around sexual content, erotica for verified adults. People heard that and thought, oh, okay, the chatbots got sexting now. But that's not the real story. The real story is monetization pressure. By 2025, AI was embedded everywhere. Margins were tightening, costs were massive for ChatGPT and others. And historically, when tech looks for fast money, it turns to industries built on fantasy, intimacy, and women's bodies. This matters because AI porn doesn't come from nowhere. It's trained on real images, real bodies, real people. Change the skin tone, change the face shape, even change the voice. Now it's not you, but it's built from you. That's the Frankenstein problem. They steal your likeness and they build AI sex characters based off of you. And it doesn't hit men the same way. It never does. I swear, when I heard Sam Altman talk about charging folks for ChatGPT porn, I said to myself, now, don't this sound just like a pimp? And when you purchase from a pimp, everybody think that they're the buyer until they realize they're the product. Number 1, 2025, people learned the system and responded anyway. Here's what I don't want us to miss. 2025 wasn't just about what tech did. It was also about how people responded. When protest content got suppressed, people spoke in code. When keywords got flagged, people started to change the language of how they talked to one another. When videos got throttled, people held signs instead of saying the words. They were kind of speaking in code around it. People studied the algorithm and then routed around it. In Portland, protesters wore inflatable suits to stop police tactics like pepper spray. On TikTok, people disguised international news as shopping videos. When Black folks said, look, we're tired. Y'all got to carry this one. And other communities stepped up. That matters because it shows something powerful. We are not powerless. We are adaptive. Tech tried us, but 2025 showed us something else too. We shared responsibility. We learned. We responded. Community is technology. Memory is technology. And discernment is technology. Big Mama didn't build safety through an app. She built it in a kitchen at a table with a plan and with people who paid attention. When the rules change, so do we, because they gonna keep trying us and then they gonna fuck around and find out. So let's keep that same energy all year long in 2026. I'm Cassaundra, and this has been my top 10 in tech moments of 2025. This year, in 2026, we have new episodes dropping every 2 weeks that will make you laugh, make you think, hell, might even make you drink. I don't know. But that's all right, because at Big Mama's house, we welcome everybody. Tune in on your favorite platforms for Becoming Big Mama, the podcast, where wisdom isn't just old school, it's the cheat code for right now. Peace.